more and more people are actually telling their banks, you want my house? Take it. Now they're saying the same thing about their cars. For more on this, I'm joined by John Sternal, the president of LeaseTraders.com. John, so tell me, what do you mean by this? People are just giving up their cars like they used to give up houses?
Well, what's going on here is that, there's obviously a difference between whether you buy a car or whether you lease a car. And when you lease, you're under a contract because you don't own the car. The bank owns the car. So what's happening is that people have a couple of options. They've run into troubles, and maybe they've lost their job, or they've their house is costing them too much, and so they can either default on that lease, and the bank has to take it back, or now through Lease Trader, they can transfer it over to somebody else.
All right, so you found some interesting information in all your research and the folks who use your website, obviously. There's something interesting going on here with people in the same areas where we had housing problems, people walking away from housing. They're also walking away from their leases. So let's take a look at this. We're looking now at folks walking away from their car leases. You can see the areas this is happening in: Southern California, Metro New York, South Florida, Vegas, Michigan. All the places where we've seen so much financial turmoil. Foreclosure rates, where are they highest? Nevada, Arizona, Florida, California, Michigan. So tell me, John, what does this tell you about how people are in trouble and what they're going through and the lengths they're going to these days to rid themselves of big-time debt?
Well, there's still a lot of hurt out there, as we all know. And, it doesn't surprise us at all that we see this strong parallel in areas that you're seeing a lot of struggle with the housing industry. What it tells us, basically, is that, there's more of a payment out there that families have to make each month than just their house payment. And typically, the car payment, in many cases, is the second highest monthly expenditure for a household. So it's natural to think that they're now struggling with their cars as they did with their houses.
Right, and just as you can lose a car, you can also lose a house. You said some interesting things. There's some interesting advice for people who are in trouble right now. You say that, leases are transferable. That's the entire MO for your website, obviously. And you say that's actually a better result than going back to the dealer and trying to negotiate your way out of this.
Yeah, it's actually the whole way that Lease Trader was started, actually, over 10 years ago. If somebody's in trouble with their lease payment and they can't make it, the first thing they think to do is to go back to the dealer. They think the car salesman and the dealer's their friend. They think they're the financial advisor. Hey, come back, I'll take care of you. It's really not the case. What's going to happen is you're either going to have to break the lease, which in many cases results in writing a check for about $10,000, or they're going to say, I'll sell you a new car that's less expensive, but what they don't tell you is that you're going to roll all that negative equity into the next payment, and it's going to be a dangerous downward spiral for your finances.
And it's a dangerous spiral because you're just adding on to that debt, correct? And maybe even extending the period in which you're going to repay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, at Lease Trader, you come to us and you can transfer it to somebody else. We actually have a waiting list right now of people that are looking to take over these leases because there's some good financial benefits on that side of the equation, and we're helping out a lot of people.
Fascinating interview. We really appreciate your help today, John.
Thank you so much for having me.